So the 2026 World Cup has been going on for a week now. I don't know what you watch when you turn on the television. Maybe you watch 22 men on the pitch running around a round leather ball. As opposed to that, I watch history. I see beyond that. Not that I don't enjoy the antics of the game, not that I don't enjoy the players, the formation, the skill, the creativity, the goals, right? The supporters, the fans, the stadium, The no, I don't enjoy the hydration breaks because I don't understand why we would have a hydration break at a match happening at 12 a.m. Right? But that's by the way. I see all these things and they are fun to experience as somebody who is watching from the comfort of his home or as someone who is in the stadium to support your team. But I see beyond this, I see history, beyond the creativity on the pitch. I see history repeating itself. And I would want to talk about the match between Portugal and DR Congo. And in my own analysis, I think that match carried some historical underpinning. I saw us traveling back in time. I saw us settling some scores. I saw two teams who are about substantiating a relationship that started on equal footing 700 years ago. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the Portuguese and Congolese contact. So something happened in 1482. That's 15th century. So in 1482, this Portuguese navigator known as Diogo Cão sailed to West Central Africa, accompanied by some Franciscan monks. Why he went with some monks, I don't know. He had his reasons. And during his expedition, he heard about a powerful kingdom and as well a powerful ruler known as the Manikongo. And he decided to go and see him, maybe pay some homage or establish some diplomatic contact. It started off well, but he didn't go with his monks. He left his monks in the region and sailed to meet this king. After some diplomatic contact with the king, he came back to the region where he left the monks and found them absent or missing. So as a result of that, he and other members of his crew held some of the Africans that he saw in the region hostage and he took them to Lisbon. There in Lisbon, these Africans or these Congolese were, treated well. They were under royal supervision. They were taught Christianity and they were taught Portuguese. But then 5 years later, in 1487, this Portuguese navigator sailed back to West Central Africa, especially to the same king. And meeting with the king, what I call a diplomatic exchange ensued, whereby he gave back the Africans to the king and the king returned to him his monks. So, what is the point? My point is that the early African European contact started with a friendship and alliance. It started with a diplomatic friendship and diplomatic alliance, whereby two countries started off maybe on a wrong foot, but in the process, they met halfway. They were in the same zip code, but not only singing in discordant tunes, they sang from the same hymn sheet. As opposed to every other narrative that Europe entered Africa through a unilateral domination or portraying Africa as a continent with no diplomatic agency. No, because at that point, the Manikongo or the people of Congo accepted the Portuguese. So there was this bilateral relationship where even the king or the Manikongo was writing a letter to the monarch in Lisbon or in Portugal. So there was this brotherhood and they addressed themselves as brothers. And it was against this backdrop that Chinua Achebe asked, can we today imagine a situation in which an African ruler is giving, rather than receiving admonition on law and civilization? So what is the point? The point is that the early African European contact started on bilateral relationship, on friendship and alliance. Back to the game that happened 2 days ago on Wednesday in Houston between Portugal and DR Congo. I saw a lot of persons online expressing or registering their dissatisfaction. What were you expecting? You were saying a whole Portugal, a whole Portugal. Why don't we say a whole Congo? a whole DR Congo. I understand you might say, oh, we are talking about people who are already established, or we are talking about players who have names and all whatnot. But bro, there is no small team in this World Cup. That aside, the point I'm driving at here is that watching that game that day on Wednesday after the final whistle, I looked at the scoreboard and I saw Portugal 1, DR Congo 1. It reminded me of this, alliance, of this friendship, or how these two countries started on equal footing. The diplomatic exchange that happened at that first time after the Portuguese navigator got back his monks and the Congo ruler got back his citizens. So that is what I see here. DR Congo's national team, they took 1 point for themselves, and Portugal took 1 point for themselves, right? Equal footing. Yeah, I mean, that is what I don't know what you watch when you turn on the television, but this is what I watch. This World Cup is an opportunity for you to travel back in time. It unites the world, no matter your race, no matter your culture, the music, the food, the clothing, even the banter. Don't take it seriously. Even the banter. No, there are banters that I take seriously, right? Especially this um most African nations not in support of South Africa. Yes, you see, the World Cup presented us that opportunity to remind them that whenever an idol becomes too arrogant, it is reminded of the firewood from which it was carved. I think we are utilizing this World Cup as an opportunity to remind South Africans that, to remind them that a single bracelet does not jingle and that an egg does not fight a rock. So I'll still reiterate my point. I don't know what you watch. I don't know what you sit down with your popcorn and Coca-Cola watch whenever you turn on your television, or whatever you have with you while you're watching these World Cup games. I want you to see beyond 22 men running around a round leather game. I want you to see history. Look at Norway. Look at the history they are bringing to the World Cup. Norwegian, right? Yeah, the Norwegian team, and especially their supporters showing that Vikings historical underpinning, doing all that, they're celebrating. Whoo. That is the beauty of the game. And that is why it irks me when any sector or any group want to politicize this World Cup. Leave the game for what it is. It is uniting the world. That is what it is. So I'm going to challenge you in the next match. In the next match that you sit down on your sofa or on your couch to watch, I want you to see beyond what is happening on the pitch. I want you to do some research and check how have these two countries who are about playing, have they met before? What is their relationship politically, economically, culturally, what have you, religiously? What is their relationship? Do they have scores to settle? Is it a time for them to, this is what World Cup is bringing to us. And I want you to look out for that in your next match or in any match that you decide to watch. Thank you.